Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Adobe Live here in the UK this Wednesday for a nice 90-minute session of super fun that you can enjoy here on behance.net/Adobe Live. If you're watching on YouTube, that's fine, but it's really here where you need to be so you can get involved in the chat and also ask questions of our fabulous guest, who today is Tanja Hildebrandt. Hello, Tanja. How you doing?
Hi, Tony. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm great. Excited to be here again with you.
I was very excited when I got this one. So I love working with you. So I'm really looking forward to it today. Really, really good. So in a minute, we'll find out what you're going to do. But first of all, let's give a shout out to some of the people who have joined us today. So we've got Andreas. Guten Tag, Andreas. And we've got Sandrine. We've got, there's loads of chat going on there. We've got Gareth Williams. We've got Caroline. We've got Mike. Hi. We've got Galana. Hi. We have also someone called Tim. I don't know who that is. Crazy,
Who's that, Tim?
Crazy. We've got Sean. Another Guten Tag there, Sean. There you go. And let's have a look. We've got Umacorn. Hi, Umacorn. Plenty. As you know, Tanja, because you do this in Germany, we've got a fab community here.
Yes.
Really, really good people.
Yeah,
so,
I heard also a great community in the UK and in Germany as well. And I think Andreas might have seen the session or the topic from today.
Well, there you go. If it's so good, you can watch it twice or more, because don't forget it's available on demand later on too. So what are we doing today then, Tanja? Lovely Tanja.
Yeah, Tony, feels good to be back with you today. The topic of today is, it's called online workshop promotion, or you can more say how to create a visual for an online workshop. Because in the German stream, 2 weeks ago, we started for the Adobe Live sessions for 2022. And the first week was all about goal setting as a creative, talking about goals and planning for 2022. Of course, work-life balance, but also we talked about a lot of business goals. And also what I do realize when I talk to other creatives and other freelancers, that running online workshops is becoming more and more interesting across the creative field. And even myself, I would like, or I'm planning to create an online workshop. So I thought maybe it could be an interesting topic for the session today. And I divided it into two parts. First, I'm going to show you a project I was working on last year in October for the Adobe co-creation team. I created some illustrated session notes about a session which was shown on the Adobe Max. It was run by Lauren Hom. She is a US designer and lettering artist. And she presented a session which was called 3 Ideas to Diversify Your Income Streams as a Freelancer. And there she also talked, one idea was these online workshops. Then I show you the project, how I created this, so you can say a visual summary of her session. And then afterwards we jump into creating our own visual for an online workshop. And there I want to talk about a few things to consider when thinking about creating an online workshop. And then afterwards, we finally then get to the creative part, and I will design a small visual in Illustrator and show how to present it. And then when we have time, we jump into XD for the last 5 or 10 minutes, and I can show you how to make a small animation for also posting it for social media, this visual. That's the plan.
That sounds like an absolutely packed session. And of course, what do you know, one of the things I love about your work is that you are so diligent with, preparing assets and showing things through and having, sort of post-session assets. You're really, really good at that. So I'm excited to see this.
Thank you, Tony.
So, right, let's get going. Let's get started.
Okay, great. Yeah, you can see my screen. So, so first I'm going to show you, maybe also Tim I have sent the link to him. Maybe if some of you are interested, this session, which was presented on the Adobe Max, is still available on demand. It's the session, like the content is from Lauren Hom, as I mentioned before, and my part for this project I did in October was to create this visual summary of her session. So the first thing was that let me go up here. So first thing was that I watched her session like 2 or 3 times, and I started just taking some notes. Like, she talked about 3 ideas, and it was totally up to us how we want to visualize her session, like doing illustrations or do it more in a graphical style, and also about how many different pieces or how many illustrations I want to create for the session was totally up to me. But as she was talking about 3 ideas, I thought it would make sense to also divide it into 3 different illustrations to have everything in place and can divide it. So first of all, I watched it 2 or 3 times, and I took some notes. Also, it's in English because the team I was working with was also English-speaking people. So I just took notes what she was talking about, and then for the next step, I tried to make some, maybe you can call it icons, or find some visual pieces for each note I've taken. And for example, here, the first idea she was talking about, also, like, her session was really good because she gave a really good overview. It was really well structured, and she had a lot of interesting details in it. Like, for example, she mentioned, or she gave her recommendation about the length of an online workshop, or also about pricing, and she talked about all these details. And for the online workshop, she said that it's good for creatives who like teaching and also like or don't have any problems being in front of a camera. So this is why I included this person here saying hi. And online workshop is also good to really target a niche audience, to share tricks, tips, and skills. And there's also these 2 possibilities. Rather, you do it live and you have no post-production work after it, or you can also record it. Maybe it's a bit more relaxed when recording it. You do the post-production, and then you can also sell it, for example, on demand. Or provided on demand. The second thing she was talking about was creating an online workbook. The difference here is that you can really go in depth and give in-depth teaching. You can bring a lot of different informations in one place. And this is also a good option, for example, people who like writing but don't necessarily like to be in front of cameras. So this is why I showed this person. I didn't show her face. She's sitting in front of her computer, and she brings all these different informations into her computer and writing it down. And also, workbooks are pretty good when you have a lot of information and you, for example, want to give like step-by-step instructions. And here you can see these were all the different notes I've taken, and then step by step I created these small pieces and then somehow brought them together. And the last thing she was talking about was creating downloadable tools and assets. And this is also something I think it's really interesting, or even a lot of creatives already does it and provide these. because you're working, for example, photographers always work with their own presets, and maybe you can think about if you want to sell them, or if you ever created your own font or brushes or icons, and all these things could be possible tools to sell them as downloadable tools. And here I also created these icons, and it was the most difficult one because I had all these little pieces, and then I thought, okay, I bring it together. I set this arrow here in the background to hold everything together. And then I thought maybe this could also be a nice idea to work with these single big geometrical shapes and bring one into the background to hold all these different elements, single elements together. And here it's like these this funnel here to bring all the informations together.
Oh, so cool. I love it.
Thank you.
I love your sketches.
And I try to do it really detailed and precise, that they can see really what I would have included, because it was the first time that I did these illustration session notes, and I think it's a bit different to just, for example, to creating illustrations, because it's somehow, maybe it can be compared to an infographic, because you have these informations and somehow you have to include them. So I thought it's necessary to bring it or to show it in detail how I would visualize it. And here for the color palette, they gave me a color palette, the Adobe color palette, and we were totally open or totally free here as well. What kinds or what colors do we want to use? At least we should include 1 or 2 colors, but we were also open to add our own colors. So in this case, I went for the purple and the pink, and most of the time I love including a white and a black, and here I also included this darker purple. And but I tried a few things out before I came to my final color palette. And I told you before, I mentioned before, that it was totally free how many illustrations I was creating or I wanted to create, but also we had some specs here for the different formats, because it was then posted on social media. So it was this one format for the Instagram's post and Facebook post. It was the same format. And then we had one which is little bit longer for the Instagram story, and a landscape format for Twitter. So that was challenging, because bringing the same illustration onto different formats. But I talked to them and suggested if I can start with that format here, and then afterwards can adapt these or adjust these to the different formats. And when working with Illustrator, this is not that hard, because you have all these vector elements. Yeah,
it's good to plan for, though, for that and that's the thing. Designing for paper is one thing, right? In that you've got a defined, exactly how that's going to end up on a sheet of paper. Yeah. But when you're designing for digital, and you've got all of these different platforms that you need to service, it's tricky, right? That your design has to be flexible enough
totally
to work just there, unless you want to accept that it's letterboxed in some way, that you're going to have more extension color or black bars on the left and right or top and bottom. But it's tricky.
Sometimes this is working too, but for some graphics, then you see somehow it's not really fitting into the format. So
I'm not a fan of letterboxing. I like it when someone's designed something that will actually, work in those ways, but it's hard.
And then we had our first iteration, and they had a look on the sketches. They were happy with it. So for me, it was then time for the next step and coloring it, bringing everything into Illustrator. And here you can see for most of them, I stick to my sketch. For example, here I brought this niche audience to the top to give it a bit more focus. Or here for that one, I felt that the text was flying a bit away somehow. So I brought in this this geometrical shape to stick it more onto the illustration. And yeah, so these were my first illustrations. And as you can see here, I worked with these patterns. I love working with these patterns in the shapes.
They're great. Yeah, I love it.
So I also wanted to include them into the headline. But here I felt somehow that this was too much, because I really wanted to set a focus onto the illustration, onto these 3 different ideas. And it felt somehow that the headline and the picture was competing to each other. So I thought I have to go a step back. First, I just narrowed it down to just use one color and with the patterns, but even that, it felt a bit too much. So in the end, I just went for this white typo and have this slightly offset stroke, which I also used here in these in the single illustrations then. And
nice.
then,
and that's got good contrast, right? You're not going to, people are easily going to be able to read that and see it.
Yeah. And also for the color here, I in the end I kicked out the yellow and I went for this pink and the purple from their color palette, and I added this green tone and this darker purple. And then I felt, okay, somehow it's good. I have a nice contrast in the colors. And for the title, I gave them 2 options, or I sent them 2 options, because I thought maybe it's nice to have a different background for the title and not the white background as well. So I think in the end we also went for this pink one, and yeah, these 3 ones. And here I open the final document. Here you can see the different formats. So this was in the end, when they were happy with the illustrations, I brought them onto the different formats and made these adjustments. And here you can see it's just like you change the graphical composition, that it's somehow still working. And for that one, it was pretty easy because it's more like a poster or something. And for the different or the single illustrations, here, for example, I stretched these. I was pretty happy because I had these bigger graphical shapes in the background, so I could just stretch them a bit and give it a bit more space, so I could adjust it to the different formats. Yeah, so this was basically the project. So as I mentioned, the content was from her, and my part was the visual summary of that, or creating the visual summary of that. And also there, I thought, creating an online workshop is a really interesting tool, or a really interesting thing you can think of. And now we can step into the main part.
Right then.
Okay.
I don't know if you know it, but InDesign has a feature and a tool set called Adjust Layout, in which you can specify where different things in a layout will move if the layout is changed or adjusted. So if you did have to do something that went from portrait to landscape, you can kind of pin things to certain parts of the page geometry. So like the left corner, or the bottom left corner, or the top right corner, and so on. That's something I'd love to see that in Illustrator. I'd love to see something that allowed you to do that in Illustrator, make doing this much easier.
Yeah, I think it still takes some adjustments from you, or because I think it's also XD has a feature as well, and sometimes it's working pretty well, but sometimes you can do the little adjustments by yourself. But that would be great. When talking about giving online workshops, I think it's important to consider a few things. First is the topic itself, like what kind of topic do I want to present? What is the thing I have a lot of knowledge about? Then the second thing is, who's my target audience? Who do I want to reach out? Is it a niche target audience? For example, when we are working as a freelancer, the first or the one on the one hand, you have your skill as a professional, for example, as a photographer, taking pictures, editing them, or as an illustrator, working with Illustrator or Fresco or whatever, being creative. But on the other hand, you have a lot of business skills because you're running your own business, so to say. When you're working as a freelancer, hopefully you can live from that. So you also do have other knowledge than than your professional skills. So you can also think about the target audience. Do I want to reach out for a niche, for example, also illustrators, or do I want to reach like a wider range, all creative freelancers, so to say? And the next thing is also to think about the structure of the content, the platform, and the title. And for example, the structure of the content, I realized that myself a while ago, I think 3 years ago, I ran some workshops for analog pattern design, and my target audience or my target group was just creative people, but not necessarily professional creatives. So that meant that mostly it were people who liked to make things like the DIY scene. They like to produce their own clothing, and that was why they were interested in this kind of workshop, because they could make their own pattern design and then send it to Spoonflower and get their fabric from it. But the target audience was non-professional, for example. So that was a decision which I had to make, or which I had to consider before. Do I want to, for example, teach how to create a surface pattern with Illustrator? Then I directly have a target audience who mainly is working with Illustrator already. Or do I say, okay, everybody is invited. You can make it with a piece of paper, with your hands, with pens. So this is a bit different. And also how you present or how you bring your content together is then different, because you have to think of who am I talking to. So this is also an important thing to be aware of. Then, of course, the platform, for instance, or you have your own channel, Tony, as well.
I do YouTube. A little bit.
But also Behance is a pretty good option for, you can stream there now, and so it's really easy to start out and to try out these things if you're interested in that. And or also, for example, Skillshare or Domestika, and they have the processes are a bit different. I think for Domestika you have to be invited, or you can apply for. I think for Skillshare you can host your own workshop and just start out. But these are also things to consider. And the last thing is the title. Let me check. Here's also the thing that you have to find a way to be precise. The more precise you are, the better. But also to find something catchy. Because, for example, when you say illustration with Illustrator or learn illustrations with Illustrator, then the customer or the potential customer don't necessarily know what to expect from the workshop. When you say creating portraits with Illustrator or creating geometrical portraits with Illustrator, that gives it more precision, and then it's a bit more precise, and I think this is better. Or what is also good for titles, to include numbers, for example, 5 skills 2, or 3 ways 4, or like also what Lauren Holm did in her session, 3 ideas to diversify. So this brings it also, or this narrows down to a few topics, and the customer really knows what he can expect from the workshop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and for today, I thought we want to create a visual for a potential workshop, or for an online workshop. I came up with the idea or with the title 5 Essential Skills to Succeed as a Freelancer. Also, a thing is finding a nice title is much more easy in English than it is in German. Because, I mean, this is also already a pretty long title, but in Germany it would even be longer.
Longer, yeah, because probably some of the words would just be joined together into one mega word that you could have. So I have a question for you. I thought Tim was going to hit us with a soundbite then, but I missed it. But anyway, not to worry. Do you ever research titles and see what things that people are looking for? Do you ever use any services to sort of research?
You mean really doing the analytical part of it?
Yeah, and sort of checking out what people are searching on a particular term. Do you ever?
Not for that. I rather use it for example, for hashtags for social media. Not in that case right now, but maybe. No, but I've already did some research to, for example, go through Behance or Skillshare and see what is already there and what might be a good title and what is a good thing to include, like, as I mentioned, for example, including numbers to bring it a bit more, narrow it down, and
okay, cool.
So I saw Emma is also there. Hi, Emma.
Emma's in the chat. She is. Hey, Emma.
So here I thought I don't want to have like a pretty niche audience. Here I would think this topic could be interesting for like all freelancers in all creative fields, because it's more about the business skills, not only like the professional skill as for you as a professional. So I thought we can just keep it as freelancer. And here to define the content before is pretty important. And here I would include here the 5 essential skills, which is basically like your professional skill, which means your skill as a professional, like working with the apps, being creative, having the ability to take good pictures, whatever, everything you do as a professional. But besides that, there are other skills you have to succeed, or you have to somehow be capable of. For example, business skills. That means that you be able to run your business, setting a timeline, setting a project management, being a problem solver is also pretty important, I think. We have to deal with some kind of problems all the time. And what else? Let me check my list. Resource management, for example, is also part of that. Then the communication part, the third skill is, I don't only mean the communication, for example, networking with other freelancers, but also how you communicate with a client. Be precise when talking about timing, be precise when talking about the briefing, have a face-to-face conversation and level, an open communication level. All these things here. And then the last 2 things, of course, is marketing, which is including CEO, website, social media, all these things. And also, of course, finances. If you have a plan for the next year, a financial plan for the next 3 or 5 years, which is also like pretty important to at least think about it when working as a freelancer. So these would basically like a content table, which I would include for advertising the workshop, that the people have something like a teaser which they can accept from the workshop. And here, then my first step was to now for creating a visual. And also maybe one thing I forgot to mention is when creating a workshop, then it's an important thing to you as your brand, as you as a creative person. The people will buy the workshop from you because it's you who is teaching the workshop. So you as a person is really important in something like that, where you have some kind of personal connection to your customer.
Right.
So, and also when you look, for example, on Behance or Skillshare or all these things where you can sell your workshops, it's a good idea to add a photo of yourself, because it's you who's presenting or who's teaching the skill. But other from that, it's still, I think it's a good idea to have something like a visual, for example, if you want to print flyers, or if you want to make more posts on social media, then you have one post with your face and another post with a visual. So when you're a creative person, I think it's always also pretty nice to see or to give the viewer an impression what you'd be capable of. So here the first thing was that I was looking to find some icons again for the different parts or the different content topics I would want to include in the workshop. Here, for example, the business skills. One important thing is work-life balance, or to get paid for the work you're investing.
Your time, yeah.
Here, for example, this is a problem-solving skill, like you going from A to B and find a solution for any kind of problem. Also have in mind all your, I don't know, financial or analytics, timing, of course, to-do lists. Then here are the creative skills. This could also be, for example, a photo, a camera, or whatever. But here I included a photo, here working with textures, working with the computer, whatever. Here is a communication where, you go into contact. I thought maybe it could also be a nice idea to bring these two persons together somehow.
I like that there's sort of an umlaut as well over a U. It's sort of
sorry, what?
It's at first I was just seeing the letter U there as with an umlaut over the top of it, but now I get it. Right?
With an umlaut, yeah.
Yeah.
In the end, I will show that later. I thought it could be a nice idea, but also style-wise, in the end, I didn't choose that one because I also saw a face in there.
True, there is that, but at least it's smiling.
At least. They're communicating, so I hope they're happy. And the last two parts is marketing and development. Here, growth and like a rocket, whatever, reaching a goal, targeting your audience, all these things. And then the next part was that I tried to find a picture where I could include these different icons. First, I thought of, I don't know the word in English.
Hurdles.
Hurdles. Okay,
hurdles,
I thought something like hurdles run or something. And then I thought, maybe that gives a wrong impression, because the goal is to have fun with these different parts and not only see them as a hurdle. The second idea was something like, I thought, okay, these are different parts, like these things are different parts, and I somehow have to bring them together and to succeed, whatever. And then my boyfriend came and saw this sketch, and he said, okay, but maybe it also gives a wrong impression, because it looks like it's falling apart somehow. So I thought, okay, no, maybe this is also not the right picture for it, because it should give you the impression that you can succeed when you bring everything together. Yeah. So in the end, I went for this one here and see all these different parts more like as a puzzle, and you have to bring everything together, and then it's working somehow, you as a creative, as a business creative person.
Yeah.
And
this is the thing, right, is that I think I've said this on here several times before, that sometimes people forget that you are running a business. You are both a provider of a service, but you are also a product. So you need people to identify with that product, but also to, like, it's an interesting dynamic, freelancing.
Yeah, completely. And I mean, most of us creatives, we don't like, just most of us, not all of us, but most of us don't like handling with numbers or talking about, I don't know, our CEO or all these things. But in the end, like you said, it's somehow also important to evolve and to gain a living rate from it.
I had so one of my producers I was very, very difficult with doing a particular spreadsheet early on when I first kind of became an author and started producing more than one course. I had to go ahead and put things into a spreadsheet. So I had to put learning goals into a spreadsheet, and I was terrible at doing it. Like, really, I used to, like a small child, I'd go like, oh, you know, have I really got to do that? You know, and just act up generally. And she said to me, she said, what you have to think of, right, is when you're faced with that, every time you complete that successfully, just think cha-ching, you know, the sound of a cash register, because every one of those you put in potentially equals money. And I thought, I like money. So and that's the thing. It's just getting over, just think this is an investment. What you're doing with your time when you're doing all of that side of things is an investment. It's important, and it makes you more professional. That's completely true. And also maybe another thing when talking about workshops, this of course is also an investment, because you're not getting hired most of the time for running a workshop. I mean, can also be the case, but when you want to sell it somewhere online, or you want to, I don't know, launch it through your own website or through a third party, whatever, then it's also an investment, and you have to be really sure, do I want to invest all these planning, all these, I don't know, then also recording it, post-production and all these things. But in the end, what I mentioned at the beginning, this could be, and also it's a good thing to think about as a freelancer, to create a second income stream or a passive income stream, for example, because this is really important when there's a time where you have no projects, which can also be at any time. So this can be useful, of course. Yes.
So this was my final sketch then. I went for more like the puzzle one, and first I created the different shapes, and I wanted to include the icons I've created here before for the different parts, to somehow give also, I don't know, somehow also a visual summary what the potential customer can expect from the workshop. So here's the work-life balance, the calendar, timing, timetable, whatever. Here's the communication part. And also here, I already thought, okay, maybe I was not sure if I should include it that way, or maybe I'm going to change it a bit afterwards. So, okay.
We've got Alex in the chat, by the way, from the French streams. Hey, Alex.
Hi, Alex. A full house today.
We have. Well, you know, you're what we would call a really big draw, Tanja. That means you're pulling the people in because you've got such a lovely personality and you've got skills.
Thank you, Tony.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's true.
So, okay, now we jump in finally into the creative part. So here I have my sketch, and I brought it in. I brought it onto the sketch layer, and I locked it. So here I can work in my graphic layer right now. And another thing here with color palettes, it's always a big issue. Do you, when you're creating something, do you work on the color palette afterwards, or do you?
No, I work on that early on.
Okay.
So that's normally part of my audience research. I kind of work out what colors would resonate with a particular audience. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So because normally I'm speaking to or doing stuff very specific things, but that I work on it early on.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, me too. But sometimes in the end, I don't know. I try with the recolor artwork. I'm trying things out, and sometimes you find really interesting different color combinations. Then,
Yes.
yeah. But here I wanted to include a purple because I do really like this color, and mostly I also work with a red and a green. Here it was a bit. The contrast was a bit too high, so I went for that one here, and I toned it a bit down to rather having a brownish tone. And this was my color palette then. And now I'm having a bit of issues because I told you before the stream, but I changed my
you did
the
to
language
English, yeah,
to English.
Yeah.
And some of the key shortcuts are different.
Yeah, different.
So
yeah.
Oh no, the wrong one. Here I'm going for the repeat tool. And bring the spacing to 0 pixels. Here the grid type, I go for that one here. Then
brick,
I get this brick one. And then, honestly, I think here, because it's not like a big part, I could also do it just by hand. I think maybe in the end I would be even faster, but I really like working with that. And then I'm going to expand and how's it called? Release the clipping mask. So Option Command 7 and ungroup it. And even I think I have to ungroup it one more time because I did the black and the white.
It's a group within a clipping mask within yeah.
Inception.
Yeah. I had do you know Von Glitschka? Do you know Von Glitschka, the illustrator Von Glitschka?
No.
So he's a quite well-known illustrator in the US, and he was trying to fix a problem with repeats last week on Twitter, similar to what you've just gone on with there, and I answered him because he said originally pattern, and I thought, well, that shouldn't be happening with a pattern, but it was a repeat that he was using because he wondered why the size wouldn't snap to anything else, and that's because it's clipped to a clipping mask.
Yeah, here, this one I just do by hand, and I copy it once, and I always have turned on my, how do you say it, snipping
smart
guidelines or smart guards, right?
Yeah.
And I can just make a copy once and bring it here, and then Command and D, and then I can make some copies. So this is the fastest way. And another time. And the fourth time. And I make one shape of that one here. And so I would basically go on and build all my little icons. Here for the target, I'm using the polar grid tool.
Good. Yes.
By pressing Option and how's it called? Shift.
Shift.
Yeah, you can have it in scale, but here first of all, you can also adjust like the circles.
Concentric circles. Yeah.
With the arrow keys, like up and down. Here I would just use one more, and with the left and right arrow keys, you can here adjust this number of the
radial dividers.
Right.
Or lines. Let's just say lines.
Just lines. Thank you.
Sandrine's saying in the chat, that's right up Tony's alley, using the polar grid tool for anything. But yeah, absolutely.
What, you're using it a lot?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I use that a lot. It's a really efficient tool to use for quite a few things.
Yeah, that's true.
I love that you're using that.
And now because I want to, as you can see here, I want to have like the lines going a bit outside,
Yep.
but also I do want to make a square behind it.
Yeah.
You know what, Tony, this shortcut is not working. Breaking into the background, and I got crazy yesterday when I tried to switch the language because I'm using it all the time. So sorry, I have to do it with right click and here, send to back.
Okay. The bracket's not working, no?
No. Or maybe I can't find where it is, but I don't have it on my German keyboard. So
don't ask me. I'll tell you what, I'm so lucky that I've not been pulled into a German stream because it would be hilarious.
Yeah, Tony, I would love to do a German
let's
stream
not
with
do
you.
that, not ever. I would love that too, but yes.
Yeah, the shortcuts, this can be really tricky because when you're working with it all the time and just pressing it, and somehow I ended up in the preferences, but I don't know. So I would bring these here to the back shortcut, this one here.
I mean, it's showing the shortcut as being correct there, but it's interesting. Don't know.
No, I just wanted to have these ones, right? Yeah, so then my calendar, I would just make like this piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Pressing P and creating this path here so I can, how's that called? The shape builder tool, I can use it to recolor that one here. I'm making, because I want to have like a stack of paper, so I'm making a copy, but the one on the top, I want to have like this little edge, which is like
the corner curl.
Yeah, corner curl.
Yes.
So I'm making this, deleting that one here and adding 2 anchor points. Or maybe I can just delete that one here. So, and here, because you have these little edges right here, I don't like them.
Rounding them off.
Yeah.
Or beveling them. Yeah.
Let me check. Sometimes I do a copy of that triangle because maybe if I want to have this like a really hard edge or corner, but I think this one is good for now.
There you go.
So, and now I have the second piece of paper. Oh, my shortcut. I sent this to back. And now I want to have like a copy of that. And here I go to effects. Where is it? The distort and transform, and then going to transform. And here I can make some copies of it. And when you go to move horizontally, I go here down, and you can see like my 5 copies there. And now I want them in this direction, maybe 2 more, maybe like that.
Good stuff.
So group that here and bring it here. Yeah, maybe I can adjust the corners for that as well, that they look the same. Yeah, that's better. So, oops, and group it. No.
Are you just catching that line, Tanja, from the, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, just one of the one line. And here I do want to have my to-do list and another one. And I'm just making, I don't know, 1 check mark, or maybe 2. Like that. So this is my calendar.
Nice.
Then now maybe I go to, the pencil. In the end, I went that it goes down. So I changed the shape a bit. Let me check, because I have my final illustration here, so I can look for which colors I've chosen. Otherwise, we are sitting here tomorrow. And another, no. Copy and a Command F, and you paste it into the same position. Just make it black. And here I can use the polygon tool and just giving it, you can also adjust this with the arrow keys. And here I just do three arrows. So
nice
I
triangle.
Create my triangle. It's white. And yeah, as I have these, how's it called? These smooth edges here, so I don't have this corners looking out.
Oh, rounded.
There.
Yeah.
Rounded corners, yeah.
Yeah.
So I make a copy again and give this black as a fill color. And here I want to add a little pattern that it has like these stripes, like normal pencils have. So what I'm going to do here is
normal pencils. Normal?
No, or I don't know.
Everyday pencils. Yeah, okay.
Everyday pencils. German everyday pencils.
German everyday pencils. Don't forget, I'm a pencil collector. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of pencils. There's no normal pencils in here, but no, I get what you mean. They're like everyday pencils that people would recognize.
Do you have pencils with stripes on it?
I do. Some Stapler pencils. Yes, I do.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
they have stripes.
Yeah. I think it's even a German brand.
It is a German brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I had these in mind. It's the black, yellow and black ones, right?
Yeah, that's it. With a red cap on the end of the ones that have a cap. Not all of them have a cap, but yeah. I have loads of German pencils. Faber-Castell or Faber-Castell. How is it said properly?
Faber-Castell.
Faber-Castell. Thank you. I'm going to try and make sure I do that all the time.
So what I do here now is I want to create a little pattern, which I can set on top of my the shape here. So when I go to, maybe because I have this sketch here, I bring it here. When I'm going into the outline mode, I created a transparent square and a second form, like the half of it with a color, like my fill color. And then I can choose both of it and just bring it into my swatches panel. And then I directly created a pattern, which I can use now. For that, I'm going into my appearance panel and add a second or a new fill layer.
Yep.
And that one, I choose the swatch here, like the pattern I've created. And here you can also, you can transform it. I guess maybe I want to move it, but first I'm going to scale it down. Here, just only set the check mark to transform patterns and not the object. And here, like I can play around with my stroke size, maybe like that. And then I want to bring it to the middle and I'm moving it. Maybe like that. So, and then I've created my pencil. Include that as well. And what else do we have here? This is my problem solving icon. And here I thought maybe this is like, it's not really a problem because the way is too straight. So I want to, I don't know, bring in a little curve in it. But first I'm doing the two squares again.
Nice.
Here, this is my X. That's my problem. And I align that. And here is my solution. I want to bring in this little circle and also these corners in the corner for having like these.
Yeah, like
what you can
handles.
also, yeah.
Yeah.
To give it a little bit of this computer touch, but here I'm using the normal corners.
Nice.
So, and now I want to have something like, not really an arrow, but I want to have like a round line from this first, I don't know, square to the second one. And here I thought I could maybe do this with a brush. I'm creating, like I can just do it here. I'm creating a line with no fill color and a second one. And I want to have like a line with 4 lines in it. So I'm selecting both of it. Here I go to double click on the blend options and I want 2 lines in between. I go to the specified steps, typing in 2, and then I think it's the same shortcut option Command B when you have both selected, and then it's creating you like the steps in between.
And
And here I have this I have this selected, and I'm just going to my brushes panel and creating a new brush, a pattern brush. Here I can set the specimens for like how do I want to have the corners. Yeah, I think this is okay. I just want to use it for this one part here. So I'm doing a circle, deleting these 2 anchor points to just have like this quarter of a circle. And then I'm using my brush. So I have these 2
I like it
linked together. So it's a bit nicer than just having this normal problem. So let me see also the time. We are good in time.
Yeah, we're good on time. We're okay. We're good. We've got half an hour and 3 minutes. We're good.
Half an hour and 3 minutes. That's good.
Yes.
So here, my 2 little guys. So first I thought I want to have them like that one here, giving it a bigger stroke, that the 2 persons are linked together, because first I thought maybe it's nice, but yeah, in the end it looked like a smiling face, so that was a bit too childish maybe. And I used the scissor like shortcut C, and I created an anchor point which I then can delete. So I have this half of this form here, and I have the other person here. Now I would create, and because the shortcut isn't working, I go to show guides, that one here. Yeah. So.
By the way, people are loving the way you're working and enjoying seeing it. Stuart's just said in the chat, actually, I love the way Tanja works. Nice to see. But there's been a nice steady stream of comments the whole way along. People enjoying it.
I'm happy.
And I think Tim just told everybody that I've got a very slappable face. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but anyway, maybe I have.
What? You? What?
I don't know.
No. Oh. So, okay, what else do we have? I want to have this this growth or this whatever, the structure here, but maybe I want to have 3 of it. So
okay, it's not my face. That's all right, fine.
And here I'm doing the same. I want to bring in 1 additional form. So I'm making double click and then pressing Command, Option, and B. And I have inserted that one here. And also want to create an arrow.
Ooh, old school, like it. A trend arrow. That's what that is.
No.
Yeah.
What?
A trend arrow.
Ah, okay.
When you have that on a column graph, when you have an arrow like that, it's meant to be showing a trend over time.
Ah, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Now I got it. Yeah. Yes, you can say a trend arrow. So hopefully the trend is that we have like increasement. To adjust this here. Okay. So here another thing. I wanted to include this. Let me show this here. Another rectangle or another square with this quarter of a thing. In the end, I think I went for just a normal globe or the whole circle, but I can show you 2 options, because another thing, I didn't use it in the end for this one here, but what I do also love when you are making a circle and you are deleting half of it, so you only have the stroke of half of a circle, you can go to effects. Of course, we have the new 3D tools now, but one thing I want to show in the classic one is the Revolve classic tool, because this one is also really cool. You can say from left edge, but also when you go to right edge, and then you have, it looks like a circle. But you can also show the surface, that the surface is a wireframe. So this is also really nice when you, for example, want to give this look from a earth or something. Yeah. And in the end, I didn't use that because you have to do a lot of, I don't know, post-production, so to say, because you can expand the form, but then because I only wanted to have like 3 or 4 lines, I would have to erase a lot of them. So in the end, I just used the normal circle tool, or how's it called?
Ellipse tool. Yeah.
And created it myself.
Circle tool's good. It's fine.
Okay. So I also made a copy, pasted it into the same space. And here when you, this way. When you hold Option and you scale it, then it only scales in this one direction. So I made this once, and then I do it a second time and grab my...
I just had a wacky idea at how you could do that. Like from what I've just had a wacky idea of how you could perhaps do that from one circle. Do you want to try it?
Yes. Okay.
I'm not guaranteeing it's going to work.
Okay.
Just drag a copy of your original circle. Keep it selected. Now go to the effects.
Transform.
Yeah.
Distort, transform, or?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now change the scale. So the horizontal scale, change it to 90%.
Good idea. Okay. And make a copy.
Yeah. Do a couple of copies, because that way it will go ahead.
That's a good idea.
Maybe make it a bit more. Yeah, that's it. And then maybe do 2 copies.
What happens when I do? Oh, you're right. So how?
Make the original less than 60%. So take it to something like 85.
Because
you can see that. Yeah.
The thing is, I'm struggling with is to keep the same spacing in between.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing.
Yeah. Okay. But that's also a cool option.
There would be a way to work that out. It's probably going to be in the sort of 80s, 70s, or 80s somewhere. But anyway, I thought that would go, because then what you could do is you could run the effect again on that and rotate it through 90 degrees.
Copy, or with the same shape, or making a copy of it?
No, the same shape. So just run with it selected, try the effect again.
Apply transform again.
Just
right?
go for the next one down, so you get the options there. Okay, apply new effect is fine, and then make sure that horizontal has gone to 0. Sorry, to 100.
100.
Yeah. Okay, and then just choose rotate, or the angle of rotation.
Okay, sorry.
No, I'd leave vertical at 100 as well.
This is something you can play around
Sorry, I'm
with.
messing with your stuff.
No, that's
change
totally
the
fine.
rotation to 90 degrees.
And the rotate. Here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, this is also a nice effect.
So you could get there with that. You just need to work out.
Okay.
In the first place, the number of copies. Anyway, sorry. I was just sort of throw that in. And just waste a whole 5 minutes of your time. I'm sorry.
But this is also pretty cool. No, it's fine. We're totally good in time. So
we are.
This is great. Yeah, I think the transform tool is such a great tool you can experiment with. Okay, it's just so. Maybe no stroke.
That color group looks familiar to me. I've seen a color group like that somewhere in one of the sets.
Maybe in the German stream last week.
Might have been that, actually. I'll ask Andreas. Hey, Andreas. Okay, we're getting there. And then in the end, it's always a bit tricky because you have some spaces in between. So maybe I would add my cup of coffee here. Anyway, I wanted to include it. I forgot it. Coffee. Oh, Sean was there as well. Sean and Andreas, does this look familiar?
Sean was also there.
Yeah, but you can tell we now know how good this really is because they've come back to watch it again.
Thank you.
Live again.
Live again.
Yes.
And that's a big compliment. Thank you.
It is. It's because you're cool.
So Tony, then we have to set a date when you are coming into the German stream, I would say.
The 31st of February, I'll be there.
Let's see. We try that there is actually a 31st.
If there is, there's something wrong with the moon, right? Anyway. I don't know what brand of coffee you're buying, but I'd check it out, I think.
It's always, I love to, play around and find abstract ways of, visualizing these things. What I could also do when working here with something like a grid, because I want to align all elements, I could also show like the grid and also snap my vectors to the grid. That maybe would make it easier.
Do you ever do that? Do you ever use like a grid? Like
sometimes you mean let me show
like the document grid thing, that sort of graph paper type.
No, where is it? This one.
That's
here.
it. Yeah.
And then snap
go in
to
the
grid.
preferences and change it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do use it sometimes, for example, when I'm creating, because it snaps here, and this can be pretty helpful, especially when you're working with a lot of squares and with a grid-based design, which I sometimes using also, especially when I'm working with pattern designs. Sometimes this is pretty useful, but not all of the time.
No.
And as I'm working mainly with Illustrator, sometimes I think my illustrations are nearly too clean. So sometimes I think maybe I should also work more with fresco, or not using the smart guides all the time, that I have a bit more of this, human
freedom, a bit freer.
Yeah. I think this is too big here.
So you're in Hamburg now, right? That's where you live now.
Yes.
Isn't that where Monica Gauser lives? Do you know Monica?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. I had a stream with her last year. She does absolutely amazing work, and she uses a lot of the transform.
She does.
Tool effect. It was so, it was stunning to see what she's able to do with just one pixel or one anchor point. That was crazy.
We were going to have
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, carry on. Continue. Sorry.
I don't know if she lives in Hamburg, honestly.
I seem to think she does. I'm not entirely certain, but I seem to think she does.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you guys could go have purple coffee together.
And having an anchor point party.
Anchor point party. So I was meant to do a battle with Monica, a single point anchor point battle on here.
Oh, really?
We didn't get to do it though. I can't remember why. Oh, it's because I had to go to Ireland.
Tell me when
a work thing.
This is going to happen. I have to be there. I have to watch it.
But Rufus dived in.
Hi, Rufus. Or now, or what?
Oh no! He dived in for that particular
okay.
particular stream. She's in Hamburg. So you two should definitely go have purple coffee. Definitely.
Yeah, I hope to see her also on a stream again soon. Let's see.
She's very clever.
Yeah, it's so cool to see her working. I just moved here last year in October. Before that, I was living in Berlin. But Hamburg is an absolute, really beautiful city.
I've never been, but I'll make sure that I do get.
So it's time. Tell me when you're coming.
I will do.
So maybe with one eye on the clock, I think I jump one step further, because I would create all my different elements here. What I also did in that case, I wanted to add a little texture. So for example, I'm showing it with that shape here. I'm creating with the appearance panel open, I'm creating a new fill color, and I want to add a gradient here, and I can adjust that later. I switched the opacity to add the mode to multiply. And then I give it a little, where is it? I had to search for it, because it's the position is totally different than in the German palette. Here, texture, you go to the Photoshop effects, then texture and grain. And here you can insert the grain. And then when you have this layer here selected, you can adjust it and, I don't know, reposition it and
Nice.
Yeah, work on it.
Very popular effect, that overspray look.
I really love it because it gives a bit more structure.
Nice bit of texture. Yeah, absolutely.
And I would now do this for two different things. Let me check. One is here. So this was a straight gradient. And maybe I can, where do I add it? Here into this circle. So I'm doing a second gradient here. Where's my gradient panel? I'm using the radial gradient for that. And I position it that I can see like where it's getting darker just on one side. And also here, I do the same again. I set the mode to multiply and add this texture, this grain here. So, and what I do then is I would, I don't want to add it on every single shape. So I created it once here with a straight gradient and here with a radial gradient. And then I'm going into my graphic styles. I added a few here, you can already see, but I can edit this shape. So it takes all the appearance options which I've selected here. So for example, when I go to, I don't know, maybe that one here, I have to expand it first, that I have a shape, but now I can just click on my graphics.
Sorry, I was sneezing.
Oh.
Sorry. I couldn't quite get to mute before I was saying Dankeschön.
So I have to make sure that I have here my appearance panel with this layer selected, and then I go to this graphic style, and of course it takes over all the appearance things, but here I can adjust it, and then I would customize here. I would change it to that one here, but then I can I have added the texture pretty fast and easily, and I can just make these little adjustments where I want to position it and all these things, so I don't have to do it in every single shape. So
the only thing, of course, with those, the Photoshop effects there, is that they can be affected by the document raster effect settings. So if, for example, you changed, I don't know what they are at the moment, but if they were, I'm guessing possibly 72 ppi, but if you go to effect, actually, the effect menu at the top, there, and then document raster effect settings, it will tell you what they are at the moment. So high 300 ppi. That's what some people do, is when they do them at 72 ppi, which for some reason is still a default for a couple of the document presets in Illustrator, or a few of them, and then find that they switch it up to 300 ppi, it changes dramatically. So if you drop that down, for example, now to 150 ppi from that resolution drop down.
Shall I try it?
Yeah, it's going to get super chunky.
Okay, otherwise or you want to work with that. But the thing is, most of the time when I'm creating a new document, I set a color mode to RGB, but still using a resolution of 300 ppi, because it's just
absolutely
so you're a bit more free in that way. So I would say I would jump one step ahead. So
here's one you baked earlier.
I prepared something. So this could be the final illustration. Nice. As you can see here, I've added the gradients here. This is my work-life balance. Here I added these, like just filled in and take care that you somehow have a composition which is where you don't have too much white space in it, and which is in balance, so to say. Then what I would add, of course, for here I went for this format for Instagram posts. I think it's 4:5, but my illustration, as already here again, I worked with these different or single elements, so I could also bring it, for example, into a square format or even maybe a landscape format. But in that case, I went for this 4:5 format. I added of course, the what it is, an online workshop, then also the headline. And what I thought would be nice here, if I, for example, want to post this on Instagram and want to make a post, for example, I would suggest that creating a carousel post would be a good choice for that, because then on the first side you would have this visual, but then you can swipe left, and then you get a bit more content. For example, what we talked before, like what are the 5 skills you have to find, or you have to succeed, have to succeed as a freelancer. So what I thought here, one last thing I would like to show you is to create a really tiny animation in XD. You can create animations with 3 seconds, and I think for a post, or for example for an Instagram story, this could be a nice option to have like a bit of a moving animated element in it. So here I worked on my graphic layer all the time, and now I've made a second layer which is called animation, because I thought it would be nice to have these 2 coins, or the clock and the coins, moving from beginning with no time, spending a lot of time with no money, to the other way around. Here, that my target audience is somehow then get target, and here with that one, for example, when I start here and then show somehow this growing process. So 3 parts where I would integrate a small animation. Sure. What I did here now is that I took all the elements I want to animate, and I just add them here as a graphic element. To my library. I created a new library. I did this with this line here with my coins, with these elements, all the elements I want to animate here. You can see the thing from the target group. And then the next thing, what I did was I lock my animation layer, and I would now grab my illustration. Of course, I would suggest bringing in the typo directly in XD. You could also now, when you're ready or when you are fine with your headline and you don't want to change it anymore, you can also, of course, expand the type, but not before. I would now, just for demo, just copy it and then bring it into the same format in XD. Here, I think I already, gave it this background with this fill color. And now I just bring in my illustration.
Nice.
And here, of course, you could also adjust this to different formats. And so you don't have to invest too much time. And what I do here now is I open here, I'm going also into my library. These are all my libraries. Online workshop session. This is the library I've created for that visual. And now I can also grab all my elements I inserted in Illustrator. I have them here as well. And I can just grab them and bring it into, you have to be careful that it's not blue, because otherwise you're inserting it into the background.
Yeah.
But here, so
Yeah, never a bad idea to drag onto the pasteboard first, right? It's the
yeah, just to be safe. Yeah. So I would paste these here. And I do the same. Oh no, I don't need that right now. So this is my first illustration, and then I want to have it animated. So I go to, I make a copy of the whole post by just dragging it and holding Option and Shift. And now in this, so this would be my end version of the animation. So I would change these two things here.
Nice.
And I would bring in my target group, or the line for the target group. And the growth here, I would have to make sure that it's precisely directly
aligned.
over.
Yeah.
And my arrow. So, and what I can do now is I can go, now I was in this design mode, I can now go into the prototyping mode, and I can make an interaction from this, how's it called, artboard to that one. So this is my destination artboard. And I can say, you can set the trigger, for example, tap. And I want to, the type of action I do want to have is auto animate. The longest length I can, or duration here is 3 seconds. And I want to have an ease in effect. And now I can, with this one selected, I can have a preview. And when I tap, the animation will start. So when I tap now, you can see these ones are moving and these ones were fading in.
Growing,
and
giving the appearance of growing.
Yeah, and when I do it again, what you can do is that you can record it. So you press on the record button, then you press to trigger your animation, and I can do it now, just for demoing. And when you press here again, it will give you this window where you can save it as a movie, as an MP4, and then you have your really tiny animation of your posts with a few elements who are which are moving. And yes, so this would be basically how I would create this visual. And one last thing, what I mentioned before, I think it makes sense to do a carousel post here, to have this visual, have this teaser, but then also to give a bit more. I mean, I didn't design that very much right now because it's just to see what kind of content I would include, but having the headline again, now directly speak to your potential customer, giving these, because you're giving a teaser here when you're talking about these 5 skills. And so it's necessary to mention them here again. And then when they would buy the workshop, then they get all the information for each of these topics. And then of course, what is also pretty important is the call to action button. For example, a link, or I don't know, whatever to include here. But yes. So Tony.
There you go. Well, we've apparently become a team in the last 5 minutes. Tanja, Tony, and Tim, the 3 T's.
Yeah. Do you remember we were also already a team when I was in the UK stream for the hackathon in June?
Yes.
Where I created the tea label. They were also we had 3 different flavors called Tim, Tony, and Tanja.
We did, absolutely. Angus McKenzie actually was in the chat. I think he redrew those, on his.
Yeah.
I seem to remember.
You had the beard, Tony.
Yep.
I think Tim had the headphone. Or I don't know.
something like that. Yeah.
I had the glasses. Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
He created really
good.
nice patterns.
People enjoying it very, very much. So that's really, really good. Have you got any, just so we know, because I don't know if you have you got any events coming up? Are you doing a workshop?
Not yet. I did a few workshops last year for students, but that was a different thing. But my plan when talking about plans for 2022, I'm planning to create a workshop, but stay tuned.
Well, we will stay tuned because, of course, you could always drop that information into our Discord, and Tim's just going to drop our Discord link into the chat so you can join us there, chat day and night as much as you want. And of course, keep up with what's going on. T-cubed. I like it. Tanja, it's been lovely spending the last 90 minutes with you. Thank you so much. And hopefully it won't be too long before we do this again.
Yeah, thank you, Tony, for hosting.
No, it's been great.
It was a pleasure.
Really great. Everybody, we'll see you next week here on Adobe Live, because remember, we're Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now, at the beginning of the week. And that way you get a bit more chance while at work. If you get half an hour to play with some of the techniques you could see here on the streams, then of course you've got the chance to do it. But for now, from Tanja and myself, and in the background, ever present, ever watchful, Tim, it's good. Cheerio. We'll see you soon. Right. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.